If you're planning to travel to or from the United States in 2026, listen carefully. Whether you're a U.S. citizen, green card holder, visa holder, or visitor, there's a major new travel screening system rolling out right now at airports and border crossings nationwide. Understanding who gets pulled aside first could mean the difference between walking through smoothly and spending hours in secondary inspection wondering what went wrong. I'm George from Dream Visa Updates. I've been a senior U.S. immigration professional for 6 years, and my mission is to keep you informed about changes like this before they disrupt your travel. What I'm about to share will help you understand exactly how this new screening system works, who's most likely to be flagged, and what you can do right now to prepare for your next trip. Let me be direct. When you hear the government is rolling out new travel screening procedures, concern is natural. You might wonder if you'll be targeted. You might worry about your background, travel history, country of origin, or immigration status causing problems. These concerns are valid, but here's the truth. Understanding the system removes the fear. When you're prepared, you have nothing to worry about. The Department of Homeland Security, coordinating with U.S. Customs and Border Protection, has begun the phased rollout of the Enhanced Traveler Vetting Initiative, or ETVI. This is the most significant upgrade to travel screening protocols since the Secure Flight Program over a decade ago. Reuters, the Associated Press, and the Wall Street Journal have reported these changes, and CBP has released official guidance through their public affairs channels. What I'm sharing is based on that official guidance, verified reporting, and my professional experience helping travelers navigate these processes. So what exactly is ETVI, and how does it differ from the old system? Previously, when you traveled to the United States or returned home, your passport and documents were checked against government databases containing known criminals, terrorism suspects, individuals with outstanding warrants, and people who violated immigration law. If your name matched, you'd be flagged for additional screening. ETVI expands this dramatically. Instead of just checking static databases of known individuals, the new system uses what DHS calls dynamic risk assessment algorithms. These algorithms analyze multiple factors simultaneously to generate a real-time risk score for every single traveler. The higher your risk score, the more likely you are to be selected for enhanced screening, what most people call being pulled aside or sent to secondary inspection. Here's the critical question. What factors does the system consider when generating these risk scores? Based on official CBP guidance and credible reporting, there are 7 primary categories. First, travel history patterns. The system analyzes not just where you've traveled, but how you've traveled. Multiple trips to countries on heightened security watch lists. Unusual routing, like flying from the US to Canada, then Turkey, then Pakistan, instead of taking a direct flight. Sudden last-minute travel arrangements. Frequent travel with short stays in each destination. These patterns can increase your risk score even if each individual trip was completely legitimate. Second, document anomalies. Passports replaced multiple times, travel documents showing signs of alteration, discrepancies between information on different documents, use of multiple passports from different countries. The system is particularly sensitive when someone's documented identity appears inconsistent across different sources. Third, entry and exit history. For everyone who has previously entered or exited the United States, the system analyzes your complete history. Ever overstayed a visa? Ever been denied entry? Ever been sent to secondary inspection before? Ever been placed in removal proceedings? Ever been granted immigration relief or a waiver? All of this information is now integrated into a single profile evaluated every time you travel. Fourth, law enforcement and intelligence flags. If you're on a watch list, have an outstanding warrant, or are the subject of an ongoing investigation, you'll be flagged. But the new system also incorporates information from state and local law enforcement databases, not just federal ones. This means even minor police encounters, arrests, that didn't result in convictions, traffic violations, domestic disturbance calls can potentially affect your risk score. Fifth, financial transaction patterns. The system now has access to certain financial data, including reports of large currency transactions, suspicious activity reports filed by banks, and records of international wire transfers. If your financial activity suggests potential money laundering, tax evasion, or other concerns, this increases your risk score. Sixth, social connections. This is perhaps the most controversial aspect. According to the Wall Street Journal and other outlets, ETVI can analyze certain information about your social networks. Not your social media accounts, but who you've traveled with, who has sponsored your visa applications, who lives at addresses associated with you, and whether any of those individuals have their own elevated risk profiles. Association with certain individuals can itself be a risk factor. Seventh, country of origin and nationality. While CBP emphasizes the system doesn't engage in religious or ethnic profiling, certain nationalities face heightened scrutiny as a matter of policy. This has been true for years and continues under the new system. If you're a citizen of a country on the State Department's list of state sponsors of terrorism, or have traveled to certain high-risk countries, your risk score will be affected. Let me be very clear. An elevated risk score does not mean you'll be denied entry. It does not mean you're suspected of a crime. It simply means you'll receive additional screening. For most people, this additional screening is brief. Perhaps 10 or 15 minutes of additional questions, a review of your documents, and then you're on your way. But for some travelers, especially those whose profiles trigger multiple risk factors, secondary screening can be much more extensive, involving lengthy interviews, searches of personal belongings, and examination of electronic devices. Who is most likely to be pulled aside first under this new system? Travelers from or through high-risk countries face the highest likelihood of enhanced screening. This includes not only citizens of those countries, but anyone who has traveled to them recently. If you've visited certain countries in the Middle East, Africa, Central Asia, or South Asia within the past 5 years, expect your risk score will be affected. Green card holders with extended absences are another high-risk category. The new 2026 rules create a presumption of abandonment for any absence over 180 days. But even shorter absences can trigger screening if they follow a pattern suggesting you're not truly maintaining the United States as your permanent home. Frequent travelers with complex itineraries face additional scrutiny. If you travel internationally more than 6 or 8 times per year, visit multiple countries on a single trip, or your travel patterns are difficult to explain with a simple narrative like vacation, business, or family visit, you're more likely to be flagged. Travelers with any prior immigration violations are on heightened alert. This includes previous visa overstays, previous denials of entry, previous removal proceedings even if terminated in your favor, and any history of using immigration benefits fraudulently. First-time visitors from certain countries face elevated screening as standard practice. This isn't new, but ETVI has made the screening more systematic and thorough. Travelers carrying large amounts of currency or whose financial profiles suggest unusual activity are flagged. If you're carrying more than $10,000 or the equivalent in other currencies or monetary instruments, you must declare it, and doing so will trigger additional review. Finally, travelers who exhibit behavioral indicators of stress, deception, or nervousness during initial screening may be selected for additional examination. CBP officers are trained in behavioral analysis, and the new system incorporates their observations into the overall risk assessment. Here are concrete steps you can take right now to prepare for travel under this new screening regime. First, review your own travel history. Make a list of every international trip you've taken in the past 5 years. Include the countries visited, dates, purpose of each trip, and any documentation you have. Boarding passes, hotel receipts, visa stamps. Having this information organized and accessible will help you answer questions quickly and confidently if selected for additional screening. Second, ensure all your documents are current and consistent. Check your passport expiration date. Make sure the name on your passport matches the name on your airline ticket, which should match the name on your visa or green card if applicable. Any inconsistencies, even minor ones like a missing middle name, can trigger additional scrutiny. Third, if you're a green card holder, calculate your presence ratio. Add up all the days you've been outside the United States over the past 3 years. If that number exceeds 50% of the total days, be prepared for questions about whether you've maintained continuous residence. Bring documentation of your ties to the U.S., tax returns, employment records, lease or mortgage documents, utility bills. Fourth, be aware of what you're carrying. If you have large amounts of currency, declare it. If you have prescription medications, make sure they're in original containers with proper labels. If you're carrying gifts or items subject to customs duties, be prepared to declare them. Fifth, prepare yourself mentally for the possibility of additional screening. If you're pulled aside, remain calm. Answer questions truthfully and directly. Don't volunteer extra information, but don't be evasive either. Treat the officers with respect and expect to be treated with respect in return. Most secondary inspections are resolved within 30 to 60 minutes. Sixth, know your rights. You have the right to remain silent about questions unrelated to your immigration status. Although exercising this right at the border can prolong your inspection, you have the right to request to speak with a supervisor if you believe you're being treated unfairly. If you're a U.S. citizen, You cannot be denied entry to your own country, although the process may take time. If you're a green card holder, you have strong protections, but they're not absolute, particularly if there are questions about abandonment or criminal history. Let me share a quick example. I recently helped a green card holder named Ahmed returning from a 3-week visit to his family in Egypt. Ahmed has been a permanent resident for 8 years, has never had legal problems, and travels to Egypt once a year to visit his elderly parents. Under the old system, Ahmed would typically clear immigration in 10 to 15 minutes. Under the new ETVI system, Ahmed was flagged because his travel pattern, annual trips to a country on the heightened scrutiny list, triggered an elevated risk score. He was sent to secondary inspection, where he was asked detailed questions about his employment, his family, his reasons for traveling, and his plans for the future. Because Ahmed was prepared with his employment letter, tax returns, and photos of his family, he was able to answer every question confidently. He was released after about 45 minutes. It was longer than he was used to, but it wasn't traumatic because he knew what to expect and was prepared. I want to address concerns from seniors in our community. Many older immigrants worry that their age, limited English, or unfamiliarity with technology will cause problems under the new screening system. CBP officers are trained to accommodate travelers who need additional assistance. If you have difficulty understanding English, you can request an interpreter. If you have mobility challenges, you can request wheelchair assistance. If you have medical conditions, carry documentation from your doctor. The new system is designed to assess risk, not to target vulnerable populations, but being prepared and having your documents organized will make the process smoother for everyone. For those traveling to or from Europe, the European Union is implementing its own enhanced screening systems, the Entry-Exit System and the European Travel Information and Authorization System, known as ETIAS. These systems will require additional registration and biometric data collection for travelers who don't need a visa to enter the Schengen area. While these European systems are separate from US ETVI, they represent a global trend toward more comprehensive travel screening. If you travel internationally, expect that screening processes will become more thorough everywhere, not just in the United States. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a message of confidence. Yes, the new enhanced traveler vetting initiative represents a significant change in how travelers are screened. Yes, some people will face additional scrutiny, but for the vast majority of travelers, including citizens, green card holders, and visitors who have done nothing wrong, the impact will be minimal. The key is preparation. Know your travel history, organize your documents, understand the factors that trigger enhanced screening, and if you're selected for additional questions, remain calm and cooperative. If this video helped you understand the new travel screening system and how to prepare for it, please like it, share it with other travelers who might benefit, and subscribe to Dream Visa updates with notifications turned on. I'm monitoring these developments every day, and you'll hear about updates here first. My standard disclaimer: everything I've shared today is for general informational purposes only. It's not legal advice. CBP procedures can vary, and your individual situation may have unique factors. Please consult official CBP guidance or a qualified immigration attorney if you have specific concerns about your travel. Policy can change, and the information I provided is accurate as of this date. Thank you for trusting me with your travel preparation. Safe travels, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm George, and this is Dream Visa Updates. Take care.